Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. I think I got my Instagram working without any problems this week. I don't know if we do.
I don't think the audience knows how hard that was for
that
you,
was
Heshy.
very hard, and you should have had to come 15 minutes early for that. Tom, welcome back to the show.
Happy Wednesday, Heshy.
Happy Wednesday.
How you
and
doing?
we don't have Nicole is getting a Nicole.
Nicole was on WDHA Radio in New Jersey, 101.5 FM. She did an interview because she had won an award for the Athena.
Okay, good. I hope she calls normal into the show. And, of course, somebody's making noise again. I don't know why. It's me. Okay. Anyways, and then, of course, we'd like to say hello to our producers because we have nobody else
Don't
to
kel
say
my
hello.
mic off, please.
Please
I'll be
don't.
on my best
And,
behavior.
of course, George, our other co-host, is not feeling well today.
Wish George well.
I know. We wish George well.
Absolutely.
And we'll get him back to the show
Yes.
next week. As you all know, I'm leaving next Thursday to Israel, to the Gaza. So what are you pointing at? Is the Instagram not working? It says
They're
live.
pointing that
Does
we
that
want
say-
to we want to hear you talk about the Gaza.
We're going to talk about the Gaza. I even have a joke this week. I want to talk about something personal. My Instagram and YouTube and Facebook fans, welcome to the show. We're going to be going live on the radio in about, what,
3 minutes. Yeah, about 3 minutes.
We're going to talk about something very funny with Cuomo, who I hate. You know, I used to call him Quackamo.
You have some history with him, I
I
understand.
do.
Big history
I'm
with him.
never going to let him be made. Never. I promise to go to events and freak out and have a mental breakdown. I know you're all telling me to be a statesman. Not with Cuomo, that's for sure.
No.
But we also have other stuff that we will discuss.
COVID mandates we have to talk about. I've heard
I
COVID
can't you believe it? I was
mandates.
watching the TV about this lady, COVID, and again, the war. It doesn't end of the way they want to control us. And you're right. We're going to talk about the war. We're going to talk about New York City. We're going to talk about our future. But you know, today I was having lunch with a bunch of people. And they were just telling us, well, we have to pay for the HOV lane, but that's what the government wants. They want us to have cameras. And I said, but you want to be controlled by the government? He says, that's the way life is, and too bad. I said, that's not the way life is. And then I get a call from a building that there's an HPD inspector there. I
Okay.
think that's what's making the noise. So the HPD inspector shows up at the job site, and he tells me, I'm going in. I said, really? I said, the Fourth Amendment. He said, I don't care. I'm going to get in there. I said, you better listen to who you're talking to, boy. Because if I have to come over there, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to kick your ass if you're on my property. He says, you can't talk to a city official like that. I said, if you walk on my property, let me warn you right now, I don't care what the police do. I'm going to kick your fat behind.
This is why you got so many votes, because the people know that they're fed up and you're going to be...
And they just say what they want with their badges. Today, I had 2 people walk into my office. But, Heshy, if they show us the badge, we have to let them in. I said, why? Why?
People, you know
I'm
what?
not screaming at you, audience. I'm trying to teach you.
No, but
I'm
you
trying
should-
to
you should
explain
be
to you.
screaming.
They
You
want to
should be.
get us. I'm screaming
But
at
you
you
know what?
because I can't
You
do it
should be,
alone.
Heshy.
I do it alone.
You should be, Heshy, because we're going to talk about, obviously, that less esteemed councilwoman in a neighboring district. The government seems to do one thing, and everybody else gets a separate set of rules. And I think that's the moral of this. So whether it's the COVID mandates we're going to talk
Right,
about
and
later.
we're going to talk
whether,
about your friend Ina Vernikov.
We're going to talk about that woman who certainly people, our constituents, were complaining about. Constituents were speaking to me this week complaining that there were 2 sets of rules for her and everyone else. And what you just went through also.
Before we get on the show,
Yes.
I want to tell everybody, for our viewer audience, you can call into the show. I hope they pop it up on the screen.
I'll do it for you, though. 646-974-1580. If you want to give us a call, join the conversation. And I want to say hello to a few people.
I'm going to repeat again, 646-974-1580. You can call into the show. We will take your phone calls. We are here, and it's going to be me and Tom, and we're going to talk to you guys maybe in the second half of the hour. But right now, we want to welcome all our listeners from where?
620 AM WSNR. My favorite, of course, as always, 1640 AM WJPR and 93.5 FM WVIP. Like the old, as I always say each week, Pamela Anderson Show, VIP.
By the way, in the next week or two, we're going to be on WNEW Radio.
Which is in New York, by the
New
way.
York.
It was a legendary radio station for rock and
we're going to
roll.
also be expanding to a Miami radio station.
South Beach, here we come, Heshy. South Beach.
Somewhere I
They
could
love
be.
you in South Beach.
They do. do. Happens to be in Florida. They love me.
Yes.
So welcome to our show. We're going to start our show. We have so much to talk about as my listening audience from the live radio station, which you didn't hear. I will be leaving next Thursday morning to Israel. I'll be arriving Friday morning. I'll be going to Israel, to the Jerusalem, to the Wailing Wall, to some graves. I'm going to talk about, I didn't.
And my condolences to you, Heshy, on the air, by the way, because you had unfortunately.
Yes, I did not know this. I found out last night about 2 a.m, and I texted Tom. I want you to know, I have a relative whose husband, cousin. We just found out that he was a commander, and one of my commander friends told me his name was Moti Samir, Motishamir. He was killed on the first day on October 7th. He heard the gunshots. He ran outside to hear the noises. At 7:45, he got some telephones from friends. He ran to a settlement. He ran and started fighting the terrorists. He was an army soldier as well. He then met a brigade who they all rushed together to where the terrorists were. And Moti with his gun and another officer just started killing terrorists. And at the end of the day, he entered a bad kibbutz, and there was a brutal gunfire, and he was killed. And there's a video of him, and I'm going to play that video tomorrow on my YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter channels with all his pictures, and to show you this young hero who left a beautiful wife and baby. And I'm going to go to Israel to say Kaddish at his grave, to pay tribute and honor to him. I'm sad that I thought we lost nobody. Not that I was happy about the other people dying, but I thought we skirted it. And I know you're all saying, oh, hey, she's a cousin. These are my people there since 1945, and we fought in every single war. My family did, and I did serve as some kind of stupid person, who's full food. But I do love them, and we did send bulletproof vests. So I will be there. I have an appointment with a doctor who's taking me into a hospital to entertain some of the troops. I will be going to a soup kitchen. And you got to listen to this, and we're going to be interviewing her.
And while I know we're talking about that, we do already have some callers. So
we're going to do, but I want to tell you, these are my favorite people.
And by the way, and again, once again, I do want to say my condolences, and it's heartbreaking to hear something like that. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
But there's a young lady. Her father's a friend of mine and a client. Her name is Tal Bernstein.
Okay.
She is in Givitayim. This city adopts a project called Or Yehuda, and the lady mayor of the city is involved in the project and finances these beautiful women. They opened up a restaurant, and they cook for the soldiers free of charge. And then after she cooks these hundreds of meals that you see, she goes and delivers them.
Yeah, you showed me the photos, and I was like, wow.
She goes to the border. This girl is something special, and I'm going to try to interview her live when I'm there. Yep. I'm going to ask her to let me serve food and work with her. She works through the whole night, making food, works through the day. You see, these are the things you guys think you have to do magical stuff. This is an angel. This is magic.
These are the people that
I'm
make it
so
happen.
proud of this man who created this young lady, and she's there serving these people. I'm going to go to her her restaurant food distribution center, and they did deny me from going into Gaza. So I did scream a press, and it's against the law. So the Israelis said, okay, we'll let you go, but we'll get in trouble if you die. So either way we lose. I don't let you go, we let you go. I said, you don't have to take me in all the way. I'm going to get a couple of soldiers. Who are you going to get? I said, I have a couple of relatives, commanders, who are older or don't work on the front lines. They will take me in. They said they'll take responsibility. Well, you're going to have to wear a hat and a vest. And I said, sure. That's exactly what I want to do.
Why do I picture you like on the old MASH show, like with all the military?
You're right. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go into Gaza, and I'm going to go visit maybe a kibbutz or two, and then I'm going to come back home. Anyways, that's our show. We're going to talk. Yep. We're going to talk about your mayor cutting our budgets. And here's the best part, everybody. Governor Cuomo, pig, dog, Quackamo, actually said, and he believes that the mayor might get thrown out, and he's going to run for mayor. Does he really believe that we're going to?
Oh boy, the fireworks! It's getting interesting here. We are getting ready into political season.
Oh, it'll be great because they're going to go after him left and right anyway. So, if he really runs for mayor, I'm going to run for mayor. I really mean it. Why not? What can I lose? If anything, I'll be more famous.
True. I mean, although I think you could be the councilman this time.
This time I know. That's why I want to
The people really they're really behind you, Heshy.
Okay.
Like, you know, we'll say. I mean, you never say never. One thing
know.
I've learned is, especially since we do a lot of wrestling on my end, never say never. So if you want to run for mayor,
I'm not going to run for mayor, but I'm just telling you is that he does not deserve even a right to shoot. Anyway,
he should be in jail. First of all, Cuomo should be in jail. The fact that this man, real quick, and
Governor Christie should be in jail. Ina Vernikov, which is your friend, she had a gun, a loaded gun. We have it on pictures. I posted it on YouTube
and quote
video.
unquote, it was an inoperable gun.
How does somebody walk? What idiot? I'm going to ask you a question.
Ask me 100.
What idiot walks around with an inoperable? It's like you. So then she's mentally ill.
So I have a follow-up. Was it a toy gun? Is that the claim?
And a toy gun is illegal to walk around without the red piece in the front.
Yep.
Okay? So no matter what, she has to be charged. They dropped the charges. She tampered with the evidence. There's no questions about it. But no matter what, she got off the hook, not even with a misdemeanor. Me, who they have no videos, claimed I had a riot and was never touched the other guy. I had to give it in. They wanted to put me away a year for jail. Governor Christie, that pig who's running for president, had Bridgegate, got away with it in full. Donald Trump, who they're really coming after, they're coming after big.
Yep.
And he did nothing. I even saw videos of January 6th, how they uncuffed people and let them go.
But it's like, I just want to go back to this, and I actually am getting comments from different people. I'll come to them in a second. But, it's just two sets of standards for people. Look at Governor Cuomo, what this man, this murderer, all those people he killed in those nursing homes. We're going to rehabilitate this man to be the mayor. And then you've got Ina Vernikov.
Those people gave him a lot of money.
Yes.
That's one of the things when I become councilman. I can't control nursing homes in the state. But you nursing home owners in my city, you better be careful. I'm coming in. I'm going to check you daily. I'm going to torture you. I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to take your people, or I'm going to put you into receivership and take away your buildings and put proper people in there.
But I think, Heshy, this is why people have so much distrust in their government, and they have no hope, and they give up, because they see people like Governor Cuomo.
Can I say my joke?
Say your joke, because
I think it's very funny.
You better say it now before we lose the train of thought.
First of all, my quote.
Yes.
There's no honorable way to kill. No gentle way to destroy. There is nothing good in war except the ending. That was Abraham Lincoln. So you're going to say to me about the quote is because you know about the war with Israel and Hamas.
Yes.
Of course the war is bad. Of course I would like to see no war. But these people are terrible. We've got to end the war. And the only way to end the war is to kill all of them. Of course there's no desirable way to kill somebody. But these animals need to be killed. These animals need to be wiped out. And when you people are hallucinating that nothing happened, he's going to tell you, my little friend over here next to me, that they want to bring back COVID mandates. They want to bring back masks. I was watching CNN.
No, they did it already. They did it in places already, Heshy. It's an actual fact. Fact.
And I want you to know, I'm reading, I was watching television this week.
You actually were?
Yeah.
You were actually around to watch TV, Heshy?
Early in the morning before I come. and there's this doctor, I'm going to tell you her name.
You were showing me off the air. I was like, is she a doctor?
Her name is Jane Morgan. Former executive director of Piedmont Healthcare COVID Task Force.
Oh, COVID
who
Task
says
Force. Wonder why.
That we have pandemic fatigue and that we do need masks, and only 70% of America were inoculated. If we had 90%, we'd all be herd immunity. What kind of stupidity is that? Where did she come up with such a number? And now she's telling us we do need masks, and it controls 19 seconds of the air. They want to control us. They want to trick you into it. You see, nobody's been dying last winter, this winter. She says, oh, it's going to get worse this year. COVID was a joke. You got to take care of your flu. I know my son got the flu. My grandson is sick from the cold. You got to take care of yourselves. Of course you got to put on a coat. Of course you got to put on.
But also, Heshy, we're human beings. We're not perfect. We're going to get sick.
Right.
That's part of life. Not everybody goes.
2.5 million Americans are supposed to die, even with your fake flu and the pandemic and everything.
But you know, I always have an adage, real quick, and I know that our producer wants to take a call. We'll take the call in a second. But you know, every single day you go outside, you could die from being hit by a car. You could die from almost any type of things. You can get a heart attack. Cut yourself, fall down the stairs, crack your head.
Yeah.
So what about that? Do we tell people then,
Linda fell down. She could have died. I tripped in
5 months ago. Listen, Linda, we didn't know what was going to happen 5 months ago.
Right,
you know?
Right. It was very scary. So let me make fun of Linda now. Because, Linda actually fell down. I'm telling you the truth.
Uh-oh.
And she chipped her tooth. We took her to the dentist. and she was nervous. You know, she's always nervous. So she doesn't like going to the dentist. So I asked the doctor when I took her there if I can be with her during the procedure. So Linda sat in the chair. The doctor said, okay. And Linda said to the doctor, I don't know what is worse, having root canal or a baby. So the doctor says to her, make up your mind. I'll have to know which way to tilt the chair. You know what I mean?
Well, Heshy, actually, as someone and myself who's had a root canal, I can actually picture this. So this joke, actually, I can picture because I've had a root canal, and
it's terrible.
It's painful.
Okay,
painful.
But anyways, I laughed a little bit. It eased up the moment. And,
that was good. Good one, Heshy. That was a solid one.
And the doctor made Linda cry, and I was happy.
Hopefully, Linda didn't hear that last part, Heshy.
Anyways, we're going to start our show.
Yep.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to my beautiful granddaughter, Mira Nava.
Favorite part of the show, we say Mira Nava.
And my Layla and Tamar.
Sergeant
and
Peter.
My grandson, Yeshua. And, of course, Ellie, hello, how are you? And Sergeant Peter.
Sergeant Peter. And I want to say hello to a few other people. I want to say hello to our buddy, Mr. Josh Bailey, who, by the way, went to Essence Deli this Sunday.
You're a dumb
Didn't
Josh.
call
Yeah,
you.
but he bought a hamburger. You
A
don't buy a
$26 hamburger.
$26. Is that crazy? For $34?
I told him to get the roast beef and mashed potatoes.
Wasn't that great when you saw how delicious that was?
100%.
Yeah.
I told him that. He was like, no, I got to get the burger. I got to get the
know.
burger. And he also wants to come with you to Israel, by the way.
I am leaving Thursday morning, Josh. Let's go. I need somebody to come with me. I'll take care of all the expenses there. Just get yourself a ticket. I'll give you my flight times. We're going to have a lot to do. We're going to travel all over.
And I also promised to shout out two people, Yehuda Silber from Cleveland. And I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Justin Parsley from Indiana.
Wow.
Listening to us from Indiana.
We are spreading out.
Yes.
That's good. That's
yes.
very good. And I want to ask you a question.
Ask me 100.
Ina Vinikova. I'm going to go
yes.
back to
I want to go back to because one of our constituents actually just texted me about this. So go ahead.
I mean, I want to tell you the committees she sits on.
Yes.
She can't be sitting on these committees. So
well, we know ethics is one, right?
You know that she has to be either sleeping with somebody or she's making
Well, tell me
deal.
the committees she's on because I know we have the ethics committee.
Right.
We know that.
She has the. I have the list of here somewhere.
What do you have? Waterfront? It's a big waterfront.
No, something serious that she. Remember, she gets $30,000 for every committee.
You got a lot of pages
I have
there.
A lot,
this week we have a lot. This
week we have a lot to talk about. No. I want to find.
Well,
that
in the
committee.
meantime, if you want to give us a call, 646-97. We have a caller. We're gonna call. We're gonna get the caller on here in a second.
I wish
Heshy's
I could find
just
those
trying to
committees.
pick
That's
up his
so
committee.
important. The committees.
I'll actually
I'm very upset about the committee thing. I think I sent it to you by email, by the way.
No, you didn't. But by the way, Mr. Parsley, while you're doing that, says he hopes that you were having a good night finding your papers, Heshy, and he's enjoying the conversation. In fact, Justin, I want to bring up actually real quick on Justin because obviously I have a thing called Sports Wire Radio. We talk wrestling and sports, and I've actually inducted Justin into my own Hall of Fame because, like you, I know you're big in the political world. I'm actually big in the wrestling world. So we've decided to start our own Hall of Fame, and Justin was the second person that we inducted. We'll have a formal ceremony next month, and you can certainly attend, but I'm sure you'll be somewhere big at Essence probably. But Justin really appreciates the conversation that we're having.
I don't really care what committees. All I know is that this crazy woman sits on 7 different committees, which I don't even know how she's able to sit on.
I'm going to pull it up for you right now, Heshy, because we can actually do that here for you. So the committee she's on is Women in Gender Equity.
$30,000.
Economic Development.
$30,000. She doesn't even know how to add.
Especially, I want to add on the economic development part. Her district is falling apart horrifically, from Brighton Beach to almost into Marine Park. Higher education, that's a joke. And here's the kicker for a district like hers: landmarks, public sittings, and dispositions. A subcommittee on that.
For what reason?
Especially in her district, where a lot of those older houses that were kind of the fabric of her community, like in Madison, Sheepshead Bay, all ripping down to these big, high monstrosities.
What else do you got?
I have the Common Sense Caucus, and I have the Jewish Caucus. That's what I have.
But she also is on the Ethics Committee.
I put that down, ethics first.
Well, so how many committees is she on?
I have her on 5.
So 30,000 times 5 is 150,000 plus 180,000 salary. This girl's making $300,000.
And that's what our taxpayer money pays for?
Yeah.
That's what our taxpayer money.
She has time for all those committees, right? Well, she's driving around in a sports car and doing.
But you know what? It's a double standard. It's a double. It's do as I say.
We're done with it. All I know is they're telling me to bug off
let's,
of her
let's bring the
and
caller
not
on.
bother her.
We'll take the caller.
Caller,
you're on the air with Tom and Heshy on the Just Enough Heshy Show, the #1 show for all things politics.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Who
are you and how are you and what's on your mind?
And it's Chaim and I Shalom Aleichem. Baruch Hashem, everything's good. Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach. You know, Thanksgiving tomorrow. If you forgot to tell everybody that, I'm going to have a big Thanksgiving dinner with the family and then run to a wedding.
Thanksgiving.
My father was a supporter of his great country and loved Thanksgiving. So my family has continued that tradition for 60 years.
Impressive.
Hello?
Yeah. What's your question? What do you got
Give
to
us
say
what
to
you
us?
got. You're on the air live, and people want to know what you got.
I'm on the air. Okay, listen. So in the Vernikoff, right? She comes. She goes one Shabbos before the election. She goes from shul to shul to to sell her wares, get people for her. How she dressed? Is she dressed sneers? No, she just some skinny pants. So she looked like she stumbled out. Some bimbo stumbled out of a Russian nightclub. You have to have respect when you come into a shul. You gotta have respect. She knows how Jewish women dress. She knows how religious women dress. How female women dress. At least she could dress in that way, not in the way she was dressed. You got to dress sneers when you go to an office.
Because she's arrogant.
You know what? You're right. She's not only.
After she did this, she's saying, "I don't respect you, but you need me to vote."
Well, thank you, caller.
And I just want to add one more thing on that.
That's thank you, caller.
Yeah,
but you know what? That's my point.
Yep.
He was right. Not that she doesn't care. She thinks that she's above all everything. Now that she won her second term, big deal. It's only 2 years. I hope we find a good challenge, and I will make sure she gets a good challenge.
I know we have another call, but I just want to add this. And this woman here, this arrogant, entitled elected official who's done nothing for her constituents.
Zero in 2 years.
She got off really because she's palled around with all these Democrats. Why did she go to Somos in Puerto Rico when her district is in disrepair for almost everything? The garbage, the filth, the crime. I just also
the crime is the worst over there.
I know, Kings Highway over there. Forget it. Avenue M. How about Avenue M right before the election?
By the projects. Daily shootings and stabbings. She has nothing that she can say.
And you know what? And she's not a true Republican because I think about, and I'll say it here from the hip, if it was former Congressman Michael Graham, who's on Newsmax, by the way, and even State Senator Marty Golden, if they were in the same situation, I guarantee you that they would not have got off free. Ina Vernikoff is a rhino. Right. She's a fake, and she does nothing for her constituents. I'm with you, Heshy. I hope that voters change their mind in 2 years, but it is what it is, and best of luck to her district. Right. That's it. Bottom line.
Thank you. Do you want to take another caller?
Absolutely. Do we have a caller on the line here? 646-974-1580?
My question is, you know that we're going to go, we'll go national politics and then we'll come back local.
Absolutely.
Even though... I don't.
What's worse to talk about right now, Heshy?
My point is, Trump is. Well, let's talk. He's won a lot of the court battles that they can't take him off the ballot. I'm hoping he wins the Georgia criminal case. If he does that, then it's all over. He will be president. Now, according to the latest New Hampshire polls, even though Trump has a very big lead of 60% to win the nomination, but in New Hampshire he's at 49%, and you're telling me Nikki Haley
from South Carolina, the governor there, has gone from 12% to 20% in 2
I thought
months.
18%. And then you have Governor Christie, who should be in jail.
that I agree with you. Christie should get a fate worse than Vernikova. There's no question about that.
Wasn't even touched, and he purposely screwed up thousands of us.
Absolutely.
It costed us money, and you know what? He got off the hook.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Governor Christie.
And Trump, and what he did to Trump, the ultimate betrayal, by the way, years back. Yep.
Now, my question is, I still like DeSantis, even though he's going after Trump.
Okay.
But if DeSantis, who's really behind in the race, I mean, what is DeSantis at, 20%? Or
I think he's at, what, 10?
10? Even he's below Haley?
Yeah, in New Hampshire, he's below Haley. Yep.
No, but I'm saying on the national level, he was
I think he's
18 or 20%.
I think he's like in the mid double digits.
If he backs out now and joins Trump, you're right. Trump will win the nomination. Trump might not be able to beat Biden, or it'll be close. But if DeSantis joins Trump, boom, we can kill them.
See, I don't think that DeSantis is in that position because if you look at who's supporting him, it's a lot of that anti-Trump Republican crowd. And the reason that we were talking about this off the air, the reason that I think that Nikki Haley has come up in the polls is because that kind of anti-Trump Republican voter is looking for somebody to consolidate their base. Nikki Haley fits the description. She's also spent time heavily in the state of New Hampshire. She's had 60 events there in 10 counties over the past year.
I don't think New Hampshire, the win of New Hampshire.
I'm with you. I think that New Hampshire, it's not what it used to be. And it's not a state that really fits Trump anyway. So I don't think it means a single thing.
Anyways, everybody, I'm leaving Thursday morning on El Al Airlines.
Next Thursday.
Next week. And I will be back on Monday or Tuesday morning. I'm not sure where they book me. I have nowhere to stay yet. I'm going to find a place. If not, I'm going to sleep in the car or in the synagogue, or I'm going to get a sleeping bag and sleep by the Gaza. But I am going to Israel. I am going to go to visit everybody.
And by the way, just funny part before we get to the next caller, Amber Bamba kind of laughed at the gender equity committee that Ina's on.
Yeah.
By the way, that's kind of funny, right?
What a wacko.
Now, do we have a caller on the line here, producer? No caller. Okay, no,
good,
fine. He waved to us. Good.
Okay.
Good.
Oh yeah, you believe it? I did find the committee paper.
I know, and I read them off
top.
already for you. You're way behind.
I know. Terrible.
Well, that's like Ina's committees. He's done nothing for a district
Nothing
anyway.
for the committees.
Well, we went from Heimdeutsch to Ina.
We're going to talk about a little bit of the war. I want to ask you a question.
Ask me anything. Yes,
as
sir.
we're going to have to bring this up, the war with Israel and Hamas.
Yep.
They're going to do a ceasefire if they give us back, I think, 50 or 54 hostages.
Yeah, I had 50.
But the exchange is that we have to give them 150, so that's 3 for every one. But Israel wants to vet who they're going to send back.
Right.
Now, my question to you is, forget the 3 for everyone. We don't care about them.
Okay.
Okay. My point is what's taking them so long, and why only 50? Why can't we do all of them? What's the reason to keep more hostages? So you want to have a ceasefire for 5 days? Give us back all the hostages.
And this sounds to me like a bad deal for Israel. It's
a bad deal.
Very bad deal.
And we're getting closer. We're killing them. But you know what? I believe they killed the other 200. I'm sorry to say. I'm sad. And we're only getting back 54.
You asked me about this, and I feel that Israel is being pressured heavily, in including the United States. The people, the outside noise.
Yeah, we have some idiot rabbi, a lady rabbi. Her name is whatever, stupid lady. Jessica something. I have her name here. I'm all mixed up on the papers.
Yeah, Heshy, I've never seen you have this much paper in my life.
Right.
I feel like...
No, because I was really excited this week, and this stupid... her name is Jessica Rosenberg.
Okay.
I mean, she is a man. She has a beard. She has a beard. She was on CNN, and she interrupted the president during a conference screaming, "Stop the war, ceasefire." Really? How is our president going to do that? And she's telling us that the Hamas lives are more important. They're saying there was no hostages in the hospital. We showed video. There was hostages in the hospital. We showed you about the weapons there. Oh, it's not true. Israel's setting it up. How come Israel's the only liar and not the Palestinians? We're showing you this tunnels. We're showing you videos. And I even have, you're going to love this, forget the amazing speech about this German guy whose grandfather was a Nazi and he's supporting Israel. But there was a lady Palestinian lady saying that we're more fearful of the Hamas, and Hamas did have prisoners and surrounded every patient in the hospital.
But Heshy, what I don't understand is you don't negotiate with the terrorists. We've seen this story time and time again in history. You do not negotiate with terrorists, and these people are out to kill civilization. They don't. And Israel,
they wanted to destroy. I mean, they don't even want to live life by life. From the sea to the sea. I don't know what the hell that means to me.
I tell you another thing that bothers me most about this is that even if you're not Jewish, looking at what Israel has done and giving up so much land, and they've ceded
you don't know what the Gaza was, a gorgeous,
yes,
gorgeous
you talked
place.
about it last month. You
Just
talked about
gorgeous.
the fact.
I was watching pictures
but
now
you
of
talked about the fact that you were there when the roads were being built.
Yeah.
You talked about 30 years ago, Justin Heshy.
I was driving through towns and cities, and we worked together. Do you know that if Arafat was this close to accepting the two-state deal, that they were going to give Arafat East Jerusalem as their capital? So they would have had it. And then they turned it down. 1967, the Palestinians or whatever left. So when the Jews got killed, they wouldn't get killed. And what happened was they would steal the Jewish land. Again, they miscalculated. 1948, I mean, just by your knowledge, my history books, and I know you're not onto the Israel, there was 9 countries.
How do you know, by the way? I do like Knesset. I did tell you that.
You did like it. 9 countries surrounded Israel.
Okay.
Tanks, soldiers, they were outnumbered. 10 to 1, if not even more. And the way I was hearing stories when I was in Israel in 1969 as a little kid and through the years, the Israeli tanks went straight up mountains like miracles. They were able to wipe out the armies of the many different nations that they couldn't work. For some reason, they couldn't work cohesively. If they would have just worked cohesively, they would have beaten Israel. Anything was going against Israel. My point is one, the Bible itself shows us that we are the legal deed owners. There was no Palestinians. But we're willing to share. Do you know that 2 million Arabs live in Israel?
Yes.
They're judges, they're lawyers, they're bankers, they're soldiers. And still, they have a great quality of life. They don't make $200-300 a week. They're living a luxury life, and they contribute.
But we've talked about this time and time again since it happened on October 7th. These people, you can't negotiate with them.
Yeah.
They're terrorists. And you know what? They don't even want our way of life.
Right.
You know, it's like we talk about...
Today there was a car that blew up at the Rainbow Bridge, right?
Yes.
In Canada.
11:27 in the morning.
Terrorist attack. Ina didn't know what to do. It's a terrorist attack. It's not a terrorist attack. I don't take things off Twitter. This girl is like scared of her own shadow. She doesn't know what
because she's a Democrat and she wants to make sure that she's staying in line with the likes of Kalman Yeager, Farrah Lewis, Governor Hochul. That's the reason why Ina Vernikoff has to make sure that her Democratic supporters can okay what she says. That's the simple facts.
Do you believe Mayor Adams is in trouble?
He's in a lot of trouble. In fact, I want to talk about that because
why do you think so? He says he has nothing to do with it.
Well, one of our constituents actually just sent this to me and wanted to talk about that. Apparently, there's an aide that deleted text that the FBI is going after.
Right.
So he's got a lot of problems right now. And we know this whole thing with the Turkish government. Right. I mean, what about that? I mean, I think Adams has got a lot of problems. He's got a lot of problems because he's also fighting with the man in the White House, Joe Biden, over the lack of money that he has not gotten over this migrant situation. Don't forget. So Adams, to me, is in a lot of trouble right now.
I don't know. We could have, for the kind of money that we are billing out for the migrants, we can build $20 billion. Just this next budget, or $12 billion, $20 billion, whatever numbers you want to come up with.
Right. We spent $4 billion.
But here's my problem. Okay. You know what you can do for $20 billion? You can go upstate and build 10 different cities. Not in New York City, but you can build cities up there with housing and giving them money. I mean, we're blowing money here, and they're living on the street, and they're living in tents.
Well, it's like what we say all the time. You know, what about the veterans? What about the people that have mental health issues? Right. What about those with postpartum depression?
All we asked was for $1 billion, but they're giving $20 billion to the migrants.
And the people here, they don't belong here.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, going back to Adams, Adams has a lot of problems, but they're self-inflicted. The way he comes across, the way he's done everything here to run this city. And you know what? He's raised a lot of money from a lot of people. A lot of people feel that he's been very hand over fist when it comes to real estate. So who knows? You know, and we could be talking about another election where we could be having another ship with the governor. Governor Cuomo could be coming back, like you said at the beginning of the show, Heshy. Yeah. But here's the options. If it ain't Governor Cuomo, do you want Jumaane Williams? Do you want Brad Lander?
Oh, God.
Do you want Brad Lander?
No. I'd rather have Justin Brennan.
I would take Justin Brennan in a heartbeat.
I'm thinking Ina would be the best job for mayor because they're all stupid anyways. At least we know that Ina. Ina will you can't screw it up worse. She wouldn't be around. She'd be busy sleeping. Now, you told me that the hostage deal is not happening
So, according to, before we went on the air, let's move on a more serious note, Heshy, in the real world.
Right. I know. Ina's never going to be mayor.
Yeah, let's
I'm hoping she gets to lose her council seat.
She's never going anywhere other than council. But let's move on. So according to CNN, before we went on there, we were talking about this.
By the way, she made no money as a lawyer. She was like the worst lawyer on the planet.
Wasn't she we don't even know what university she went to for law. But the fact of the matter is that apparently they're delaying the deal now until Friday with the hostages. So that's the latest on it. That was right before we went on the air.
So there's something going on that Hamas is really not cooperating. But it's interesting that we're willing to make the deal. But, you know, again, like I told you, war, there's no winner in it. But we got to kill those Hamas. And I don't know what their thing is.
But, you know, I even want to go back to what happened at Rainbow Bridge by the U.S.-Canadian border here. And the fact that people would rush to say, "Whoa, it's not a terrorist attack. It's not a terrorist attack." And well,
how come the mayor has heightened security over Thanksgiving?
That was exactly
I understand
my point.
A Christmas. I understand a Hanukkah. I understand
New Year's Day.
New
with
Year's,
the ball dropping.
even New Year, right? Because we all are not around. But Thanksgiving,
Yeah, but the ball drop is a big deal in Times Square.
It
People
is.
go out
it
there.
is.
You have to
but
say
Thanksgiving, nobody's out. Everybody's in their houses having a dinner, or the next day they wake up late. So I don't know. Nobody's really in synagogues or churches praying. So I don't really know why the heightened security. So maybe there is something.
Well,
going
I
on.
was, it's funny you said that because my theory. Now, again, this is just my opinion. So obviously, if you want to talk about it or disagree with my opinion, give us a call at 646-974-1580. Slow enough there for you, Heshy?
Yeah,
but
646-974-1580.
But the fact of the matter is that I am sure that counterintelligence and those within law enforcement might know more than we know.
Yeah, they never tell us.
Exactly.
This week I made a video and I posted it
Yes.
today in front of
Congressman Goldman.
Congressman Goldman.
At 9th Street
which
in
I
Park
don't
Slope.
even like him. A leftist, whatever, loser. I don't even know why we voted for him. But still, he is our congressman. These Palestinian yellow belly chickens with their face covered went to his office and wrote and put graffiti on the floor of red thing that blood is on your hands, free Gaza, and a whole bunch of other terrible, terrible things on the wall. I mean, they defaced. They caused damage. It was cleaned up right away, and I went over there to make a video. These are what you call losers. And like Donald Trump said, we're going to find out who you are. You better keep your faces covered, and he'll deport them. He won't allow it. I saw in one of his videos. We cannot allow students or people from other countries in this country.
But that's like the leadership that we have in this state and city that allows it, with people like Mayor Adams, who we don't know if is going to be let out in handcuffs in a few months. Governor Hochul, who talks both sides out of her mouth. How come Chuck Schumer, who, by the way, lives not far from Dan Goldman's office, how come he hasn't said nothing about all this stuff? Right. How come, listen, all these people that we have in office have done nothing.
And I was watching CNN and watching this Rabbi Shmuley, I forgot somebody. Somebody
say that again twice.
Whatever, and he was debating a guy by the name of Mohammed Hijab.
Okay.
And Mohammed Hijab, in the middle of the interview, takes out a picture of Rabbi Shmuley's son and said, "What happens if your son is dead?" Now, on national television, he didn't threaten to kill him. He says, "What happens if..." And then this guy, Rabbi Shmuley, was screaming. That's all you know how to do. That's how you know to make controversy. That's all you know how to threaten. And he didn't want to debate. He was like showing him, what happens if your son is dead? That's all he knew how to say, And he was saying that, the Jews are killing the Arabs or the Palestinians, but nothing else. Anyways, by the way, there was a poll that this governor in Iowa endorsed DeSantis, like as one of his first Republican.
Governor Kim Reynolds, I believe.
Right. I mean, why would she double-cross Trump? She won't get help from Trump in the future then.
Because I'll tell you why. It's because it's the same way that people in the local politics fought against you, is that they see the money, they see the establishment. Everybody wants to cozy up to these big, rich donors, these rich establishment country club people. But the truth is, they do nothing, and they're all, like you said, losers.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that they can line up, but you're backing a loser.
So you're all saying, Heshy, you're full of it. You don't know what you're talking about. You're out of it. Let me tell you something. Here we go. New legislation. Another one. New York State automates speeding tickets on the major highways. New Yorkers may soon be surprised to receive an automated speeding ticket in the mail on locations with new technology, legalizing automated speeding tickets. Usually you can't do that, you know what I mean? You have it in a lot of the local things, but now on the highway, triggered cameras, fines, listen to this, first violation is $50. Mm-hmm. Second violation within 18 months, which, sometimes you're driving down 65th Street, you get 3 tickets, is $75. And 3 or more speeding tickets in a period is $100. However, New York DOT says that will not result in points. Now, you can actually be 3 different cameras. Boom, you'll be paying on one drive to go somewhere approximately a $225 fine. And you can be doing locally instead of going 35 miles an hour. You'll be doing 41, 6 miles over the limits because you're allowed 5. Boom, boom, boom. You just pay $200 fines. This is unacceptable, unfair. You're controlling us. I understand crazy speeding 20 miles over the limit. Maybe you can get away with that. But you're just trying to suck more money out of us. And
it's all about government control.
And you know who approves this? Your state assemblyman and then the councilman, like Ina Vernikov and Carmen Yeager and all those other idiots have a right to stop it and where to put the cameras. They might force us as the state to do it, but they can't tell us to turn them on and where to put them. And we can put them anywhere we want. But, of course, we agree so we can get 25% of the tape. That's all we're getting.
It's disgrace. It's all about government control.
I want to talk about these movie stars that are degrading and talking bad about Israel.
Let's talk about it.
They're stupid.
I have
you think Ina Vernikov is stupid? The movie stars have no really. I was on a television show, SUV. Okay.
Well, no, SUV. Yeah.
SUV. So about about maybe 10 or 11 years ago, they needed extras. So they called me down. I went to a synagogue. They dressed me up with a beard. I was on. They filmed us. For
could have actually let you borrow this.
Yeah, I see that. It was like, and it was like a whole day. And I thought I was going to be the scene because they prayed and I looked really. They changed my whole face. It took like 2 hours to take everything off. I made a total of $75 for the day. Even their kosher food was crap. And half the people there weren't even Jewish,
so
but
we
they
didn't
look
get
like Jewish. But I was the most religious Jew there, so the camera was on me. And after a whole day of filming, the camera hit me for 2 seconds.
Wow.
Of me shaking, and you didn't even hear a praise. And so during the day, we ended up speaking to one of the actors who was a victim. She wasn't Jewish, but she looked great. She looked like a real Jewish with the black stockings and the hair. And then I was speaking to the stars. Now, you think that...
Before you became a star.
Right, but I was talking to them, and I thought, they know how to read lines. You see them on TV. They must be brilliant. The head guy, the actor, was so stupid. I promise you, we were talking about politics and baseball. He talked like a 12-year-old. and the woman was talking about her son and about dating. These are supposed to be people that are intelligent and worldly, and the way they talk about crimes, they knew nothing.
No, you know what?
They know how to read a piece of paper.
I'm not surprised because I've interviewed... doing my own, sports, I've interviewed like these professional athletes, and when you talk to them outside of what they do, they're not as what you think.
So we have a lady that I actually liked as an actress. I think she played some Jewish people. Her name is Susan Sarandon.
Yep.
Very good actress for many years. I liked the way she was because she was a fighter, a screamer, a hollerer, somebody outside the box. She now dances and shows her protests with the Palestinian, and she's represented by Jews. And listen to this. She says Jews are getting a taste of what it feels like to be a Muslim after the Hamas attacked them. So, are you stupid, lady? That the Jews are getting a taste of getting their children killed, and you talk like that and you protest like that? I'm never going to watch another one of your shows. I'm so happy they dumped you from their. She was dumped by 2 different people, and I don't think she's.
And I have a line, and we do have a caller on the line. But here's my response. I told you this one off the air. You actually chuckled. I said I didn't even know she was alive.
Right.
I didn't know she was alive.
Yeah.
She's trying to think about relevant.
Can you tell me about the budget? So the mayor is cutting everything across the board.
Yeah, so...
But listen to this. I'm going to let him go on, but after they cut all our expenses, the mayor wants the parents... to fill the gaps in schools as volunteers. We send our kids to schools because we can't home train them. Trust me, if I could have home taught them, I would have. I bet you I would have done much more.
I have a funny line. So I guess since Ari Kagan's going to be unemployed, instead of being a councilman, because he didn't do anything good there, maybe he can try to make these schools safe, huh?
Yeah.
That's the line there. But just real quick before we get to the caller. So these are some of the things that Adams is cutting. $32 million out of the sanitation budget. $74 million from the FDNY, 500.
Let's go back. $74 million from FDNY.
Fire to fire.
Do you know how many firemen and fire trucks are going to be shut down?
Thousands.
You're talking. We will have problems. Go ahead.
$547 million to the Department of Education.
Why don't you just stop giving money to the migrants and we win?
And he's taken in 100. The exact number of migrants he's taken in 125,000, and half of those he still is taking care of. That's your problem right there.
Thank you, everybody.
And on top of that, he's set up a legal defense fund, which I want to go back to one of our constituents, but we'll get the caller on. But he has set up a legal defense fund that he's raising money from people to defend himself from what he's dealing with right now with this Turkish government. So this mayor, he may be on thin ice right now, Heshy. That's the bottom line. You know, could it be Governor Cuomo? Could it be Jumaane Williams? Could it be Brad Lander? Who knows? Maybe Anthony Weiner's out there still. I mean,
you know what? Even though Anthony Weiner is a pig, he would be the best one. He was known.
Caller, you want to come on the air with us now with Tom and Heshy on the Just Enough Heshy show?
While
We've
I'm
got
looking
about
through my
15 minutes.
papers.
So who are you? And tell us what's on your mind.
James in Brooklyn.
How you doing,
Hi,
James?
James. Oh, wow. You're
Okay.
becoming a regular caller. How are you, my
If you
friend?
got any thoughts or feelings about this court case that was overturned? Bobby Ann Cox had fought the governor Hochul wants to put in, like, I guess, a law that people can be sort of picked up, taken away if they're thought to be like sick or ill.
Yes, I heard about that yesterday.
We're going to have what do you call quarantine? You know,
Quarantine, yes.
camps.
Yeah,
We're going to have these sort of things in New York State. You know, if this Bobby Ann Cox can't go up to a higher, like to the Court of Appeals, you know, she's got to do more work on this. So in other words, there are certain interests in our state that just have to have this sort of regulation, you know, like this has never been before. We already have laws on the books for, you know, I mean, we had in the 19th century, I think we had like an island in New York Bay where sickly people could be brought. But I mean, so we know.
Thank you, caller.
And happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
James.
happy
Thanks for. We'll
Thanksgiving,
talk to you
James.
next week.
So you're right. I'm happy that was overturned. First of all,
No,
we would never let you take out relatives. So Hochul, you can jump in the lake. Two, it's illegal
There
law.
you
The
go.
Constitution does not allow it. Health Department does not override the Constitution. She's trying to do it. We're going to keep fighting you. We're going to beat you. And the truth of the matter is, just like you Palestinians, you know, they're ripping down signs all over, you know, of the kidnapped children and watching videos. They're not going to do it in my neighborhood because I promise you,
You
if
know
come
what I
here,
even saw?
I'm going to push you. A lot of you people are filming them and showing you what these pigs
I'll
are
tell
doing.
you what even
If I see them doing it, I am going to push them. You know, I met a couple of Russians.
Yeah.
I was so proud of them. When I met them, I said, "You beat the hell out of this guy. Take 9." I said, "You're not scared to go to jail?" He says, "No, you come get us." And I'm telling you now, come get me.
I'll tell you-
I want to see you dare rip down the signs in front of me. I promise you guys. I promise you, you're not going to get away with
tell
it.
you what
I don't care about going to jail.
I'll tell you what even bothered me, and I'll get to a couple of comments in a second here, is that now where I live in Staten Island, they're actually defacing the bus stops now, putting Palestinian remarks. I mean, it's to the point where, listen, people have to stand up. Maybe you do have to take action in your own hands because, listen, we know Adam's doing nothing about it here, but I got a couple of comments here. Amber Bamba says school safety agents from public schools gone, asking parents to volunteer now, exclamation points, WTF. My husband says he'll volunteer at our 7-year-old daughter's school because
I would
he
also
obviously
do it.
wants to be
I
safe.
volunteered. I volunteered at my son's school when they needed me, but you know we can't do it every day, and you can't cut the budget. And we do need experienced teachers that do it every day. Yeah, us parents are very experienced, but we got to do it every day, and we don't. We have our own lives to do.
And our buddy Justin Parsley, by the way, you'll really appreciate this comment. He really hits home. He says, basically with kind of a sarcasm, paper ballots would only resolve the unfair advantage.
Yeah, I know.
And we know that firsthand
I
here,
want to
unfortunately.
show you how crazy and what you're. I know that you think that I'm in the conspiracy theory, but I'm starting to think that it exists.
Okay, what
that
do you
the
got?
government wants to control us, and it's not the government; it's the hierarchy. There was a guy on video, and I think we spoke about it. He was coming home with a hot tea or coffee. He took his key out of his pocket. He lives in a nicer neighborhood, $1 million home, not super fancy. He came and put the key into the door. As he came, 2 masked guys jumped over the fence, took out a gun, and put it to the back of his body. He then quickly turned around, took out his gun, knocked the other guy away, and started shooting.
Yeah, in Los
and
Angeles.
they ran away in Los Angeles. He ran away. You're not going to believe this. They actually arrested him. He had to turn in because he was firing a weapon in the open or something like that. You believe it?
Well, and this goes back to the point you made at the beginning of the show. Ina Vernikova, who clearly broke the law and is an attorney, gets away scot-free. But this guy who was defending
who could have been
himself,
killed. The guy put a loaded gun to his
This
back
guy
while he's
gets
going.
the book
And if he
thrown at
would have
him.
got into the house, he would have, I'm sure, hurt the family or raped or killed.
It's the double standard, whether it's Governor Cuomo, Ina Vernikova, whether it's Governor Hochul, whether it's Biden, all these people. This is why people have such a distrust in their government and feel hopeless. And that's the bottom line, all this stuff that we see. And speaking of the government, we got to mention the news, Heshy Tischler, that George Santos looks like he could be getting thrown out of Congress. And he also announced that he's no longer running for re-election.
So how long is he in Congress already?
He's been there now. This would be going into his second year. So he just got elected.
So even if till they throw him out, it's going to take at least 6 months.
No, I mean if they
It's
vote,
only a 2-year term.
yeah, but so this would be he's going into year 2, but there's a
This is
possibility.
when they start
But this
campaigning.
the campaign for his seat's already begun. But the point of the matter is that there's a possibility the vote could be as soon as next week to remove him. And the way it's looking right now, we were speaking about this off the air, that originally there was between 20 and 50 members of Congress who originally voted against to expel him, that said now after the evidence against him that they would
What
now
evidence
vote.
could there be against him?
Well, they're saying basically there was a report here when it came to the violation of ethics that he engaged in unlawful and clear violation.
What does that mean?
He used campaign donations for public use,
Like
basically his
what?
private use.
what?
OnlyFans subscription. He used it for manicures.
But he has to look nice. Can he get a haircut and a manicure?
Well, that's
It's not really
determined
that way. I
that
got
he can't do that.
And what about Botox? I heard he got.
I heard Botox
but
as
I
well.
think Botox is going to make him look prettyish. No,
Well,
for the campaign, you
I
have to
haven't
look
got
real.
Botox before. I have to get back
I
to you
know,
on
me
that.
too. But my point is, if they do replace him, is there a special election?
Yeah,
or
so the
does
way
the
it's-
governor
So the way it would work would be just like when Anthony Weiner years ago got in trouble, is that basically he would be forced to resign. His seat would be, he'd be thrown out of Congress. So what would happen then is the governor would have to call a special election. It's usually between 60 and 90
But I
days.
heard there's a congressman now that quit.
Yes, he's in upstate New York. He's quitting, but he's not quitting until January, I believe.
So, but they're looking to find a replacement for him.
Yes,
Shouldn't
but
there
the
be a special election?
But the governor can't call the election until the person leaves office. So right now, like Santos is still in office. The minute that Santos is removed, that's when the
But
governor.
he says he's not running anyways.
Yes, but they want to throw him out before then. The reason that they want to do that is politics. The Republicans are afraid that Democrats are going to say George Santos is a part of your party. George Santos is a crook.
but do you know that there's going to be a Democrat running for that seat right now?
There's a bunch of them.
So the people are going to be fed up voting for Republicans, so they might just win that Democratic seat.
I agree with you 100%. But the
The Republicans.
But this is the Republic. You know this better than anybody. This is the Republican establishment that they would rather throw this guy under the bus and lose than try to defend the guy. Now, I'm not saying what he did is correct at all. I personally think that.
And I want you to know, they promised me, the Republican Party, that they won't do the Wilson Pakula Act. So this week.
Now, I laughed when you told me that months ago, by the way, and I told you what was going to happen.
So I was at, we had a club meeting. I have a Republican club meeting.
Yes.
They elected me the vice president of the club, and I have the club, and I let them use my office and so on. So the new chairman, Richard Basimian, which I'm starting to like, he came out with his wife, and I asked him straight out. I embarrassed him in front of the crowd. I let him talk. I was very cordial with him. I was nice to him. I said to him, the Wilson Pakula, are you going to give it again? He says, well, we work with certain Democrats that vote for us in our line, so we give them the Wilson Pakula. I said, but if you would put up your own Republican guy and tell him to do what you do, don't you think it's better than supporting a Democrat? I understand if you have nobody running, but to put somebody up against somebody that follows your politics, I said, you should change that opinion. Well, I'm going to have to go case by case in the future.
Well, he's basically telling you that
he
follows,
won't support me.
And he follows the law of another party that's not the Republican Party, that supports the Democrats. And speaking of another person that the individual you spoke with supports, speaking of somebody that actually caucuses with the Democrats, is Simcha Felder.
Right.
That's somebody in question that he supports.
But I heard Simcha Felder might not run again.
Well,
we spoke about that.
We'll have to find out. But that individual that you spoke of that showed up at your function, he supports Simcha Felder.
I want to show you why Simcha Felder can't run. And we're going to say goodbye to our our people in a few
6:20
minutes.
a.m., 1640, and 93.5
Thank
FM.
you for
We'll
listening
see
to
you
the show.
and happy Thanksgiving.
Simca Felder gets 100, 2,000 or 90,000
Yep.
a year salary,
Correct.
plus whatever few extra dollars on the side. He makes an additional $400,000 while working as a full-time senator, as a professor and sitting on boards, which is all illegal. I mean, I don't know how you have the time to sit on committees, run an office, and make private money of $400,000. And I'm not talking interests and investments. I'm talking actual jobs. He makes 100,000 something as a professor. How does he have time to be a professor? He makes money sitting on company board meetings. So it doesn't. So they have a new rule that you can only make like 150,000. So for him, he'd
Right.
have to either give up all his jobs or give up the senatorship. So I'm hoping he gives up the senatorship, and then of course Carmen Yeager will run for it, or there'll be a big fight for it. Thank you everybody from the 3 live
Absolutely.
stations for joining us, and we thank you for
And somebody,
listening
by
to-
the way, had a funny one here. George Santos should call into the show. We take
Yeah,
him.
I would
We'll
love to
interview
speak
him.
to George Santos. You know what? Why don't we try to reach out to him?
I
he-
think your guy named George would probably know George Santos.
Oh wow, we should ask George. Maybe he can get George Santos on the thing, and we can talk to him for real.
I think you should get Ina Vernikova on the show to defend
I
herself.
tried to get Ina, but she's like a scared chicken little rabbit, and she hides like a little girl, you know what I mean? All she knows is how to go to events, go to these parties and dress fancy. I don't even think she looks nice, really, but she looks like she's on some kind
But they're
of...
all Democratic functions. Notice how
she's
all Democratic.
functions.
No Republican.
Right. No Republican functions. I know there's going to be a big Republican function on December the 11th, a Republican party, a Christmas party, or holiday party. They
Not a
invited
Hanukkah
me.
party?
No, it's a holiday party. But they want $85. I'm not going to. And George told me to be, my campaign manager, and he's on the show. He says, "Heshy, you got to be a statesman. You got to go to more of these parties." I said, I go to enough Jewish parties. I go to weddings.
Heshy,
I
how
go
many
to
parties?
Shaver
You should be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
weddings. I went last night to a wedding and a Shaver Brothers, okay? Both of them. And I worked a full day, and I forgot where else I was. And tomorrow I have the Thanksgiving dinner with the whole family, and I have a wedding for a young man who's getting married for the second
so
time.
what I wanna know
and
is-
really wants me there to dance with him.
And by the way, I want to thank Amber Bamba because he or she says, Heshy, are you saying politicians are corrupt? Get out of town and laughs. But I have to ask the burning question. Are the chicken cutlets already in the oven for tomorrow?
The chicken cutlets will be not in the oven. What I do is make them fresh. As you walk in, you're going to see them cooking and coming right off the grill. Tonight, my daughter-in-law tried to impress me by making these. The French fries are wonderful. But, if you want me to complain, I could. But my producer is related to me, and he might shut off the mic like he always does.
That's a good, smart move on your
So
part,
the
Hesh.
chicken cutlets and the French fries were needed. Trust me, they were very important. But I am much better. But it was great. She gave me great stuff. I want you to know, I want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I want you to give thanks because a lot of you should know that your lives are good. I was speaking last night. I was invited to meet a holy rabbi whose father, my father and his father were good friends, and he's now taken over. And usually you sit with the rabbi for a blessing for about 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. The rabbi let me sit with him for an hour as people were getting nervous in the hallway and screaming. And the rabbi actually talked to me about politics and about Trump and about America and about a whole bunch of different things, which I was very impressed because he was very knowledgeable. And at the end, he says to me, Heshy, I see that they took everything from you. They hurt you. And you came back stronger. He says, just stay behind the scenes. I said, Rabbi, if that's your advice to me, I will listen to you. I agree with you. But here's my problem. You guys need me. Even ask your own son. They come to me. They need my help. I said, this is what I want to do. I know how I can do a better job. And I did discuss with him that, like Joseph in the Bible, after 12 years of sitting in jail, I wasn't in jail for 12 years, but from the first time I was there till now, by the next election will be officially 12 years. And I felt like I was a little in prison because people talk bad about me and hurt me, which I don't really care. You know what I mean? I was a king in jail. I was a king outside. And I always felt that being a king doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else.
Right.
I knew that I was able to get stuff done by being able to keep my word, keep my promises to the others, and in return, they help me keep promises. My word is my most important thing, and I try my best. And even when I did screw up a lot, it took me some time to pay off my bill. I paid it off, or I paid it back, or I
Amen.
chased the people. So I think I'm good, almost good. I think I didn't hurt much. Yes, I have 1 or 2 or 3 enemies.
Just one or two?
Quite a bit. I don't know why. I haven't taken anything that's not mine. But I'm here. I want to thank all of you.
And Amber Bamba
Thank you,
also says
Amber
she's a she,
Bamba.
yes.
And we're going to play the music.
Happy
Thank you,
Thanksgiving,
producers.